Hello, good evening, and let me adjust my chair. Saturday night, 8 o'clock, well, just after. Apologies for the delay. How are we doing? What are we up to this evening? It's been a lovely day. What you guys been up to? I've been working hard, grafting in front of the computer, slaving my little fingers away. Look at that, they're gnawed down. There's nothing left of them. So, have you had a good day? Hi, Emma, how's it going? Ria, how's it going? How are you doing? Nice of you to join us. So tonight, there's a few things I want to talk about, all kind of wrapped into one. Hi, Mark. All kind of wrapped into one solution, well, one situation. And I've called it tonight going balls deep. Now, that's not my suggestion, that comes from somebody else. Water, but yeah, it's been a hot day. And what I want to talk about is the difference between confidence and fear. Okay, because as you know, I've set up this new group called the Quantum Confidence Café, which is all about helping people build or rebuild or boost their self-confidence. I apologise if I come and go out of volume here because my hearing is going buggery today and this ear is really giving me a lot of jip. So if I go up and down, it's because I'm getting bunged up and I can't tell whether my volume's any good. But anyway, I want to talk about this feeling of not having the confidence to do something and how you get over that. And I wanted to tell you a story about how I can't even speak, how I overcame that. So going back, to 2003 or 4, something like that. I was a health and safety manager at the Channel Tunnel. Well, health and safety advisor, to be honest. And my boss said, Paul, I need you to do a presentation. Here's this big pile of stuff by a guy called Professor Reason, who's got this thing called behavioural safety. Go and prepare a presentation, and then you're going to give it to your peers and immediate directors. And I went, yeah, this is a great opportunity for me to put myself out there and get noticed and get seen. The problem was I'd never done a presentation before. I didn't have a Scooby-Doo and I made the biggest mistake ever. I didn't ask anybody. I thought, I'm a genius, I can do this, I've got this. I didn't ask a single person. Hi Nikki, hi Emily. I didn't ask anybody how to do a presentation. So I just thought, I've seen some presentations before, I'll just do it, I'll go and do it. So reminder, this is like this much information I had to digest. So I created a training that I'd like to call Death by PowerPoint. It was pure evil, really, and it was everything you shouldn't do when doing a presentation. Basically, I had about 150 slides. Each slide had about 1 million words, give or take a few 100,000, yeah? Smallly, densely packed. And I didn't really have a clue what I was talking about because this pile of information had to be digested and I had to do the presentation about 3 weeks away, roughly, yeah? So, plus doing my ordinary job as well, so I didn't have very much time. Anyway, so the big day comes, I'm wearing hi Trisha, I'm wearing what am I wearing? A short sleeve shirt, like printer guys coming to fix a printer. And it was green, it was pale green. And as you can see, I get hot very easily. And the day comes, there's a room for about 16 people. It's got 25 people in there. It's the middle of summer, a bit like today. It's really, really hot. I'm starting to sweat before I even start this thing. And my boss comes in, makes an introduction, and goes, over to you, Paul. Oh dear. Within about 5 minutes, literally 5 minutes, my green shirt is black. It is dripping wet, soaking. And I mean, literally, there's not a piece of this green shirt that is green anymore. It is soaking with sweat. There's sweat dripping down my face. My hair is so soaked. And I'm mumbling my words. I don't really know what I'm doing. It's a nightmare. It is a catastrophe. Mega. The worst thing about it was that all my peers and the directors in the room were pretending not to see the mayhem that was going on. Eventually, my boss took pity and said, Paul, go and take a break, I'll take over from here, kind of thing. And It was a nightmare. I mean, I didn't cry, but I felt like crying because it was absolutely awful. All these people that I admired, some of them I looked up to, some of the people that I worked with, and nobody said a dicky bird. Nobody said, you know, it would have been great if somebody had gone, Paul, that was shit. Let me show you how to do a better one, or anything like that. But nobody said a word. And so for a long time, well, for 4 or 5 years, I didn't dare go near a presentation again. Not even put my head above the parapet or nothing. I just stayed very quiet and didn't want to even think about doing a presentation again. Until 2008. In 2008, we had a big fire, and I was the emergency preparedness manager then. So I had the firefighters in France and the UK, the emergency services outside, local authority, all that kind of thing. And so I was heavily involved in that fire. Sort of during the fire itself, I was in a control room helping people. I was on site for like 3 days without going home. So I was really intimately involved in this thing. And my boss told me to prepare a debrief report. So I'd done that, interviewed loads of people, did the debrief report, put a really good report together, and my boss presented that to people. Yeah, that didn't happen. And I put this presentation together, gave it to my boss. He took it to the directors, and then he told me, he said, Paul, that was a really good report. Thank you very much. Excellent. I really appreciated it. Very, very in-depth, the right kind of information. So I thought, oh, that was good. I was chuffed. And that was pretty much the end of it. But about, I don't know, a month or so later, I think it was, one of the senior firefighters back at Kent Fire and Rescue invited me to give a presentation on the fire at the Kent Resilience Forum. And hi, Jeanette. And the Kent Resilience Forum is like once a year, all the emergency services, sometimes the military and the local authority that deal with any major situations in Kent get together and have this forum to kind of like discuss events that have happened during the year and their responses to them, the good, bad, and the indifferent. And I got invited to do a presentation about the fire from the Eurotunnel perspective. And half of me was going, don't do it, don't go near it. And the other half of me was going, no, look, we have to get over this demon. We have to just like go for it. And so what I did this time was I actually did a lot of research on YouTube and Google about how to do a good presentation. I asked a few people. And so what I did was, well, first of all, I was intimately involved in the fire. So I knew what was going on inside out and back to front. So I knew my subject. And then I put together a small number of slides, let's say 15, but most of them were just pictures, yeah, with a few words, just a few phrases. And I rehearsed the presentation, so I knew it inside out and back to front. So I went up to the police headquarters at Maidstone, I think it was, about 300-400 people, and I gave my presentation, and hi Neil, I absolutely loved doing this presentation, yeah, and I got loads and loads of positive feedback. And what I kind of did a debrief myself, and what I'd done was, like the person I was talking to today, was I'd gone balls deep into this. I'd decided that this thing was scary and I needed to get over it, because one way of pushing myself forward, hi Tony, one way of pushing myself forward was to actually get out there more and do more of these kind of presentations. So I did all the research, knew the subject and all that kind of thing. And I really put myself in a perilous situation, not a life-threatening situation, that's different, but I'm talking about perilous from like a self-respect, self-esteem kind of thing, because if this had gone wrong again, that'd have been like 2 strikes and you're out, because I would never, ever, ever have gone near another presentation again. But this time it worked, and the reason it worked was that I did the preparation. I went full in, balls deep, to use this person's quote, yeah? Because when you think of it, what is the opposite of low self-confidence? Yeah, it's not high self-confidence. If you're a confident person, what's the opposite of being confident? It's not it's not low self-esteem. It's not a lack of confidence. It's fear. If you're confident, you go do that thing. The opposite of that is being scared to do it. Yeah. So the opposite of confidence is fear. And the only way to get over your fear is to actually get balls deep in it and go do it. And that doesn't matter what it is. Yeah. If you're frightened of, let me think of something. Let's say that you want to start a business, okay? You want to have a little sideline to build up some money to add to your savings or to pay for a holiday, whatever it is, yeah? You can sit there and think about it and dream about it and write about it, you know, notes and things, and watch videos on YouTube, but then not do anything because, you know, you don't have the confidence, you're scared, you're frightened, or whatever you want to call it, you know? But that doesn't get you anywhere. The only way to get yourself to start this business and to get it up and running and to make a bit of money on the side is to actually go balls deep. It's to do the research, start making notes, start coming up with ideas, talk about people that have, you know, thanks Tony, nice to see you mate. It's to actually get in there 100% and to grab that thing by the throat and to shake it until something falls out. So get the ideas, talk to people, make notes, you know, do something. Because you know what, even if you don't do that first, if you do that first thing and it doesn't work, you've learned. You've absolutely learned. Yeah, jump in with both feet, give it 110%. I hate that phrase, give it 100%. Give it everything you've got. Absolutely everything. Put everything behind it. Because if it works, fabulous. You've got something up and running. But if it doesn't work, you haven't lost. What you've done is you've built your confidence up to say, I can do this. I can actually build a business or create a product or lose the weight or stop smoking or quit drinking or start running, go to the gym, whatever it is, I can do it. You know, and if it doesn't work first time round, you've picked up some experience, you've learned from it. So you go back to the drawing board, you go back to the drawing board and you start again. Because the more times you do it, the better you will get. It's like me, when I first started doing these a few years ago for the photography group I had, I was 100 times worse than I am now. Now, I know that's hard to believe, yeah? But I used to be really, really bad. And then I stopped for a year and a half because I told you, my dad died in 2017. I kicked it all into touch and didn't do anything. And I started doing this back in probably February this year. And I've done one every single night since. And it's only by doing them every single night for 5 or 10 minutes, sometimes a little bit longer, that I actually start to make a gradual improvement and people actually start watching. You know, I've actually got 5 whole people watching now, which is brilliant. Because it means that it must mean that what I'm doing and what I'm saying has some kind of interest. And that's the only way you can step forward. You know, to not be overwhelmed with fear of judgment and to just go with it and take good from the situation. That's exactly what my friend wrote today. I'll say it again, to not be overwhelmed with fear of judgment and just to go with it and take good from the situation. In other words, go balls deep. Just go do it. Fuck what other people think, because it doesn't matter. Seriously, if it's for you, what other people think about what you're doing, unless it's constructive criticism, and I mean constructive, then ignore everybody else. Because even if you fail the first time, second time, third time, fourth time, yeah, it doesn't matter, because you'll get on and you'll do something. Right, I'll give you an example. Excuse me a second, I'm getting hot. I've got the lights on, it's very warm in here. Right, I'm not doing politics, okay, so let's not have that discussion. But if you take Donald Trump or Arnold Schwarzenegger, both of those 2 characters have failed numerous times in life. Numerous times. But guess what? You know, they learned from their failures and they got up and they started again. And now one of them was, governor of California. So a German immigrant coming over to the United States with 0 money ends up as a governor of one of the biggest states in the United States. Yeah. And then you've got Donald Trump, who's gone bankrupt, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 times, depending on who you want to listen to. And he's now the president of the United States. Now, forget whether he's good or bad at that job, and I'm not interested. My point being is both these characters have failed miserably at different times of their life, but they've got up and they've done it again. You know, Sylvester Stallone, a poor, out-of-work actor, yeah, he sold his dog because he had no money. Got $100 for his dog. And then he came up with an idea, and he went with that idea, and then the movie franchise we know as Rocky was born. because he got up with an idea and he ran with it. Yeah? And don't forget, that wasn't his first time. He'd been in a couple of really shitty movies beforehand, but he only had $100 left. It was about 75 quid or thereabouts, yeah? But he believed in himself and he pushed forward. Jim Carrey, you know, The Mask and Pet Detective. He was a stand-up comic, came to LA, wrote a check for himself for $10 million for services to the movie industry or whatever it was, you know. He'd bummed out, he'd done nothing. But he believed in himself and he pushed and he pushed and he pushed and he pushed and he got there. The only way you will know if you've got what it takes, hi Gail, is to actually go do it. It's a simple, I know it sounds a bit simple, but it's true. The only way you will know if you've got what it takes is by going and doing it. It's as simple as that. Don't let fear stop you. Because if you let fear stop you, then you're buggered. You'll be stood in that quicksand for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And 20 years from now, you look back and go, shit, this is where I was 20 years ago. I've wasted 20 years. And I don't want that to happen. Yeah, it is, Tricia. It is. It's so true. Don't waste it. I mean, again, I'm going to hammer this home another time. Our lives are not a buy one, get one free. They're not a trial run. They're not a 30-day, you know, to try it, but buy it. Or buy it for $7 and check it out in a week. It's not any of those things. It's a one shot. It's that it. Life is a one shot. You fuck this up and that's it. When you die, and we all die at one day or another. Yeah? So if you're sitting there feeling sorry for yourself, ask yourself why. Yes, you might have had a tough break. You know, we've all had tough breaks. You know my life story, pretty much. We've all had shit go on in our lives. But what defines you, what makes you better, is by being better. What? Seriously. The only way you can improve is by doing something different and pushing yourself and being more. Because if you live to be 90 or 80 or 75 on your deathbed, yeah, and this is a proven fact, they've talked to people on their deathbeds about this, and the one regret they have is, I didn't ask that girl out on a date. I didn't start that business. I never told my son I loved him. I didn't do this or I didn't do that. It's not that, I wish I'd renewed my Netflix subscription, or I wish I'd spent more time in the office, or you know what, I wish I'd spent more time eating chips sitting on the sofa. Nobody ever says that on their deathbed. What they say on their deathbed is, I wish I'd had the gumption to do X, Y, or Z. That's what they say. And that's not me saying this. They've actually talked to people. There was a book written and a study done. Yeah? Don't be that person who on their deathbed says, I wish I'd done this, or I wish I'd done that. It's too late. Go do it. Whatever the fuck it is, go do it. Be scared. If you want to be scared, fine. But did you know that the emotions and the feelings you have of being scared are exactly the same emotions and feelings that you have when you're excited? They are exactly the same. They're identical. And you know this because you've been excited before and you've been scared before. If you cast your mind back to when you were last excited and get all the emotions going from that feeling, and then cast your mind back to when you were really scared about something and gather all the feelings and emotions that you felt at that particular time, they will be identical. The only thing that's different is the label we give those two feelings, those sets of emotions. That's the only thing that's different. So, that's it. I've waffled on enough now and my ears hurting like buggery, so I'm going to go. So, take life by the throat, squeeze the fuck out of it, and go do whatever you want to do. Because the last thing you want to be saying to anybody on your deathbed is, I wish I'd done that. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your Sunday, and I'll see you tomorrow night. Bye.